Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member Conyers. I appreciate being here with my good friend, Chairman Grassley. You know, the last several years, as Senator Grassley said, we've worked together across the aisle. We've actually worked across the Capitol, as you know, to try to bring overdue reforms to EB-5 Regional Center program. The EB-5 program that I once championed seems like a distant memory. That program was designed to bring jobs to underserved rural and urban communities. And for some time, it did just that. But the program has strayed from these goals, and it's a magnet for fraud. Security violations are common, and the incentives that Congress created to promote investment in distressed areas have become obsolete due to economic gerrymandering. Only 3% of EB-5 investors now invest in rural areas. 3%. And representing a state that has a lot of rural areas. I note that number. Less than 10% invest in true high unemployment areas. Almost every EB-5 project uses gerrymandering to qualify as distress. I give you an example. A luxury hotel in Beverly Hills uses gerrymandering to claim it's located in a distressed community, one of the wealthiest communities in America. But the fact that this type of abuse now represents almost 90% of the entire EB-5 program is appalling. An untold number of these luxury developments would be pursued whether they had EB-5 financing or not. So it casts real doubt on whether this is creating any jobs at all. In my home state of Vermont, EB-5 has been used in areas that would not otherwise have been able to attract significant investment. But even in Vermont, experience has clearly shown the need for the reforms and the transparency which is so important that we're trying to achieve. In our state, the news organization Vermont Digger has dug deeply, if you'll excuse the pun, to reveal the need for broad reforms. Yet for some developers, any change to the status quo is a threat to their bottom line. And unfortunately, some in our leadership have allowed a couple of powerful developers who exploit this program's flaws to derail critical reform. That's unacceptable. The worst abusers of a government program should not be given veto power over its reform. Now, the Department of Homeland Security's proposed rules represent a significant step forward. I agree with Senator Grassley. When we asked then Secretary Jay Johnson over a year ago to do all he could to improve the EB-5 program, he worked at that, and I commend him for that, by increasing investment amounts, reining in abusive gerrymandering practices. These changes will end some of the most egregious abuses. Investors will be afforded greater flexibility when circumstances change through no fault of their own, which is going to bring additional fairness to the program. But the Trump administration is going to have to make sure these are implemented and improved. And Chairman Goodlatte and my friend Chairman Grassley, I thank you for shining a spotlight on this issue. We can't let these proposed rules be diluted or discarded because this thing will just spin out of control. I still believe, as did Secretary Johnson, the EB-5's many problems ultimately demand a legislative solution. I think we need that. I remain committed to doing more to protect investors, root out fraud within the program, increasing fraud investigations, requiring additional oversight. Chairman Grassley and I will soon reintroduce our legislation. It would do just that. It's my hope that serious reforms proposed in new rules will lead to these broader improvements. But I look forward to working with all of you on this committee, as well as on ours, to make sure the EB-5 program again serves the rural and poor urban communities that Congress intended. Thank you very much.